gotta love your job to do what I do. I'm just saying. You really, really do. I can see you. You cannot see me, but I am glad to have you here, Irene. God bless you. Good more afternoon. And I'm not really sure if it's. Are we on Central Time together?
We're on Central Time. Good morning, Pastor. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, please. I hear that all the time, Irene. Thank you for accepting the invitation. For those of you that don't know, Irene J. Steele is one of our featured authors, children's authors on the GMAP Broadcast Network. I apologize to you. I apologize to our viewers and listeners around the world. I had a doctor's appointment this morning. Had no idea that I was going to be running this late. I always say, no news is good news. I always say, if you receive no news, that means it's good news. I don't really worry about the outcome because I already know whose hands things lie in.
That's right.
I was feeling a little ill, but I I'm okay. I'm good. I'm I'm good. But today is not about me. Today is about you, Irene J. Steele. Again, one of our featured authors, children's authors on the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com. I always and will continue to encourage you all. Stop by our platform. Take a look at our children's authors area. And of course, you will see a copy of the publication that she has available for you. I'm sure you'll see it. I made sure you'll see it. And you can click on that cover. It will take you to the necessary location to find out more intimate information and details about the author as well as the publication. Now, if you have any problem or if you're guessing yourself or you don't seem to be able to find it, I'm showing it to you right now. It's on the television screen. Timothy talks to Jesus. But before we hear about that, I want to hear about you. Irene J. Steele, can you please introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from. Who is Irene J. Steele?
Well, thanks again. I was born and raised in Chicago, lived there, most of my life until I got married and relocated to Alabama. I've written most of all of my life. I've always either been the secretary, the person taking notes, short stories, and that type of thing. When I was attending church, they were celebrating a young guy named Mark Boone who had published his first book. And I grew up on the west side of Chicago. That's specific. So we spoke, and I told him that I was writing, and he talked about the need to have a writing group based on the west side because most of the publications were getting notoriety from the south side of Chicago. So he and I and several other authors came together and formed the West Side Writers Guild. And it was just really just awesome for me because we met once a month and we critiqued each other's work. And so we had poets, we had playwrights. I was working on a novel. And so that was really good. And we ended up publishing a collection of our works called Writings from the West Side Writers Guild. I was in the midst of working on a novel, and I've been published in several collections. But then I relocated. I had started the novel, and the novel. I was in Chicago during the mayoral race of Harold Washington, and that was just an awesome time for Chicago. Nowadays, people will say, well, what's the big deal? We have several African American mayors, but in Chicago in the 1980s, it was a different time and a different story. When Martin Luther King visited Chicago, he said that he had never seen racism as prevalent, even in Mississippi, than he experienced in Chicago. And so the novel was called Some Glad Morning. What drew me was not necessarily the mayoral race, but the coming together of people from different walks of life. You would go to rallies, you would see blue collar workers, white collar workers, you would see domestics, and it was just a feeling of change in the air. And then when I married and relocated to Alabama, I finished it, and it's called Some Glad Morning. And I've since written just different things, but after that, I felt led, God led me to write. I had an idea for a children's story, but I hadn't written a children's book before, but I had the idea for it and it wouldn't leave me alone. And then a friend of mine from Chicago called me and said that she had had a dream where God told her to tell me to finish this book. So I wrote Timothy Talks to Jesus. And I knew it was God sent because it just flowed. It's really about a young child who his parents, talk to him about prayer and he prays, but he wants to hear Jesus talk back. And that was just so beautiful. And the innocence, I'm talking to him, but why doesn't he talk back? So he asked his different family members, and as he's on his quest for that journey. So that's where I am today. And so that was published last month, and I'm really excited about it. And
Wow.
it seems people are excited about it as well.
Well, I'm very excited about it, and I again appreciate you accepting the invitation to be here with us today. Let me say that, and I thank you for accepting the invitation to be a part of the GMAP Broadcast Network family. And number three, I know this is a journey. I thank you for accepting the fact that we are now officially a part of your journey. So
Oh,
you've allowed us to become a part of your journey. And I'm excited to be able to disseminate this information, publication to people around the world as much and or as often as I can. Now, I know there's going to be quite a few people. Timothy talks to Jesus. I mean, it's inviting right there.
hmm
It's inviting. People want to know, and how can Timothy talk to Jesus and I can, so people going to want to know. And they're asking themselves, well, let me rewind the tape and press play. You know that there are some individuals that may be watching your every step right now. We're role models basically to someone, whether we like it or not.
right.
And there may be some children, grandchildren, parents watching your journey right now, and they have grabbed a hold of Timothy Talks to Jesus, and they're saying to themselves, how can I begin my journey? How can I get on track? How can I do what Timothy is doing? How can I do what Irene is doing? What words of encouragement would you want to share with someone like that today?
Right. Well, the foundation scripture for the book is Jeremiah 29:13. Jesus says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with your whole heart." So he lets us know that he can be found. And oftentimes, different, whether it's people or churches, they may give you a lot of instructions. You have to lay like this, sit like this, put your hands like this, and but Jesus doesn't say any of that. He sees our heart. And so he says, you'll seek me, you'll find me when you see me with your whole heart. It's that simple, and it may be that difficult because as a people, we want to do something. We want instructions, we want directions. But Jesus, he's so beautiful and so simple and tells us, just seek me. You'll
Yeah.
find me.
Yeah, and
And so I would just encourage those, because the Bible also tells us that we don't know enough to come to him, that he calls us. But when we're trying, when we're thinking, to me, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a teacher, but that's him calling us. So when we're thinking about how can I get to him, that's him calling us, drawing us near. And we just open up ourselves to him, to his love and to his delight.
wow. You know what? People always say I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, but I'm going to tell you something. Once you've made that decision to submit your life to Christ and accept him, you automatically become a minister. You don't have to wait to be ordained, licensed, somebody lay their hands on you. If God called you to do it, do it. it's just that simple because our responsibilities as children of God is to go out and minister the word in every corner of the world.
That's right.
So, you don't have to wait for the natural man's validation to accept who you are and what you do for Christ. I'm just saying. So, you are who you are. Hmm? All right, now if someone were to walk up to you today and they say, "Well, Irene, I've seen what you've done with the previous publication, and boy, you took me back to Harold Washington and said, man, I tell you, boy, that was a time.
Yes.
That was a time, and I'm old enough to remember that. And yeah, a black mayor in Chicago was, well, it was almost unheard of. We were so used to dailies.
That's right.
So um, if someone were to tap you on the shoulder and say, well, I appreciate where you've been and where you are, and Timothy talks to Jesus, but let me ask you this: what's next for Irene J. Steele? What would your response be to that?
Well, God has given me a leading for the continuation, for at least one continuation of the book. And then I hope to go back to my novel, Some Glad Morning, and to write the conclusion of that. I write a lot of poetry, a lot of songs, and so I'm interested in getting those out. In in my mind, those are the things. But God interrupts our plans. So, but I know I have another. He gave me another idea for a continuation of Timothy, and I would like, in my mind, to finish to do another book to end Some Glad Morning, and then I want to concentrate. I call them my psalms, but I've written just my love letters to God. I'm interested in getting that into music.
Wow, really? Well, I got a confession to make. You ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Irene, I've never even imagined contemplating writing a book. But as I began this journey of I guess you could say interviewing, conversating, speaking with, learning more about authors and their journeys and how they got started, what's on their mind, I came to the conclusion that before I am called home, I want to share something that is dear to my heart. I want to write a book.
Hmm.
But I don't just want to write a book. I want to write a book. And I already know the title of it.
Hmm.
And I want to get your feedback. The title of the book is Confessions of a Pastor, the Kevin T. Strawder story.
Mm.
And the reason I came up with that is because when I first dived into ministry, I wasn't a minister. When I first started preaching the word, I wasn't a preacher. When I first started pastoring a church, I was not a pastor. And that's some very serious statements that I'm making.
Hmm.
Because I used to go stand within that pulpit in the natural
Hmm.
and not the spiritual. I can't tell it all, but I wasn't right.
Hmm.
And I believe that there are many pastors and preachers and teachers and ministers out there today who are speaking, preaching, and teaching the word, and they are not right.
Hmm.
They're not trying to be right. I I remember a pastor told me one time he had to go in his office and shoot some hair on between his toes before he would go out there and minister.
Wow.
And it blew me away. So I think Confessions of a Pastor is a serious book that won't just be embraced by myself, but it will be received by pastors around the world that can relate to what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I had to share that with you because I've always wanted to do it, and hearing how you got started, and boy, you took me all the way back to Harold Washington. Okay. Uh, so I mean, it was just something that was on my mind, and I wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
Moving right along, how can someone purchase, receive a copy of Timothy Talk? Because I'm very excited. I want my copy now. I do. I want my copy, and I'm gonna get my copy too.
Yes. It's available on my website, www.irenejsteele.com. And so, and I send them out within 2 days of people purchasing, and I send flyers and information. So it's available on my website.
On your, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Available on your website.
Yes.
And we want to make that, I guess you can say, crystal clear that
Hmm.
the book is available on the website, irenejsteele.com. And when I got your message, it made me laugh. Okay, it did. It did. It made me laugh, and I said, okay, here's a young lady that she don't want this Amazon thing to be listed unless it's on Amazon. So that's the particulars of you. So
Hmm.
I want you to sit tight. Hold on one quick second. I want to show our viewers and listeners this. As you can tell, I took off Amazon, huh? Did you see that?
I did see that on the
Okay.
trailer, and I thank you so much for the trailer. I did see that.
I jumped right on it. I didn't want to I didn't want to come on board and not have that available. I came home, and before I even uh, uh, turned my StreamYard on, I edited that so I can at least have that portion of it. I'll complete it in its entirety shortly, but it's something that's so important for you to know and to let people know that if they want to receive a copy, and I think, in my opinion, more people should do what you're doing. Um, I love Amazon.
Hmm.
I think it's a great avenue, but
Hmm.
but people are becoming withdrawn from creating their own. And
Right.
your website is your identity. That's who
Right.
you are. Even I mean, there's free websites available. Create
Right.
something, anything, and because you can get caught up in the loop on Amazon or YouTube or Facebook, or you can keep who you are. Now, with
Yeah,
that
it's
being,
great to support small businesses. Books are available in any venue, and that's great. But it's great to support small businesses. So if an author or someone else is encouraging you to visit their website, it's just great to do that.
yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. How can someone reach out and contact and connect with Irene J. Steele? Is there some information that you don't mind sharing?
Right. On my website, there's information to talk to the author. They can send me an email or for questions, and I've gotten different questions and things like that. So that's also available. And I have a Facebook authors page, but the website is the key to the link because I've gotten messages through the website.
Well, I know I reached you, and you responded to me. So, and you
Yes.
are, Chi-Town, so you're familiar with
Hmm.
GCI. I used to work for GCI in Chicago for
Yes, I'm
many
familiar.
years,
Hmm.
and I even still stay connected with many of my friends, Crazy Howard and Rick Party.
Hmm.
and I used to work with people like Irene Mojica and
Mm-hmm.
Shenandoah and all
Mm-hmm.
them. I that was me. That
Mm-hmm.
was what I did, and that's who I am. So again, I just can't seem to thank you enough.
You're
For
welcome. I will tell you one thing that I have done is I've gone into middle schools and talked to high school students about writing, and I encourage them that in order to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader. And I encourage them to read outside of topics that they would normally read. And then I encourage them to join. There's so many writing groups for children, for youth, that they would critique your writing. I mean, your family is great to critique it, but usually your family, everything you do is going to be fine. But just having outside people to critique it with structure and punctuation, but really expose yourself. There's a world out there. I discovered the world through my library card on the west side of Chicago.
she said
I,
my
I
library
discovered.
card. Ah!
Yeah. So, I mean, through the library, I mean, but I encourage students, those who are interested in writing, to become a good reader.
I agree, and I can't thank you again for sharing that. It's good. I mean, it would be nice to see someone like yourself, walk into some school. I mean, we always want to do it I guess you can say the right way,
Hmm.
and we want to make phone calls and see if we can get in the school system. And you know what?
Hmm.
Take your credentials, take your book, get in your car, and start going directly to these schools and say, I want to take 5 minutes of your time to address the importance of reading to your children. Do
Hmm.
it right then, right there, and I guarantee you, you'll have a 90% success rate at approaching those children that day.
Right. I'd also like for churches, and especially those that have children's ministries, to utilize the book.
Yeah.
Because it's colorful. I work with a great illustrator here, but just it's a topic that the children come up with. Well, how do I talk to him? Where is he? And so I encourage churches and their children's ministries to utilize the book.
It wasn't my problem talking to Jesus.
Hmm.
My problem was hearing the answer.
Okay.
It's like, well, Jesus, I asked you that a month ago. Is there a
Hmm.
problem with you saying, okay, son,
Hmm.
okay, Kevin? I mean, so I can relate
Hmm.
wholeheartedly. And a lot of times we do understand yet don't understand,
Right.
and it really takes some people, some individuals. It takes some time to break that down so people could understand it from all levels.
Yes.
You got some 80-year-old mamas in church that's still confused,
Okay.
and it goes all the way down to a child the size of Timothy.
Yes.
So, let's not get this thing twisted. Everything is important. So, with that being said, Irene, I know that you have our phone number. I know we can reach each other because I got some more news for you. So, I'm going to be reaching out to you. But you have our number.
Hmm.
We want you to use it. Pick up the phone, call, text, chat, tweet, whatever you do. Anything you do, we want you to get in contact with us. Let us know. We want to be there to assist you in any way, shape, form, or fashion that we can. And we want you to know that the answer will always be yes, and you will never have to ask us twice.
Thank you
We
so much.
really, really, really mean that. I just can't thank you for being here. And of course, again, for those that don't know, Irene is one of our children's featured authors on GMAP. It's going to be there for quite a while, as a matter of fact. Um, we want you to stop by the GMAP Broadcast Network family uh, uh, website, www.gmap1.com. Click on the tab that is simply titled Children's Featured Authors, okay? It's a difference. You got featured authors and you got your featured children's authors. You will see a copy of the publication, Timothy Talks to Jesus, Click on it. It will take you and guide you to the website to find out more intimate information and details about this awesome young lady, Irene J. Steele, as well as the publication that has been released. Irene, we thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. We look forward to just inviting you in as much and as often as we can in order to help release and disseminate the information that God places in your heart, okay?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Of course, you know we're going to be inviting you back, right?
Yes.
Ah! Well, that's a wonderful thing. And again, I appreciate you being here. And until next time, we will be making sure that if you missed any portion of this conversation, it'll be placed on our YouTube channel. We're going to send it over to Facebook. It is going to be aired on our weekly cable television program. As a matter of fact, well, woo, 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 woo. But, I mean, that's good because it goes into a lot of homes. And I really, really, really want this publication to be seen and heard by millions of people, as many people as possible. You know, I heard a story once, Irene. Somebody said, "Oh, please, God, get me a car. I need a car. I just need to go from point A to point B. I mean, I've been looking at a little hatchback. Please, God, let me just say this. If you're gonna ask God for something, ask Him for something. Why are you sitting back asking God for a Chevy Nova when you can ask Him for a Cadillac? I'm I'm just trying to figure that part out because most people will try to ask God for something, giving God a limit, like He's unable to do what He really can do. God can give you whatever He wants to give you. He can allow you to be in a situation that you need to be in to get what you need and get what you want. So I don't even know why I told you that, but it's just so important for people to know. Timothy Talks to Jesus. We look forward to hearing from you again soon. I will be inviting you back. People will be able to see it on Facebook, YouTube, and our cable network channel. And you keep us posted and let us know what you're doing when you're doing it, because we want to be there to help assist you release this information to people around the world, okay?
Will do. Thank you so much.
God bless you. You have a fantabulous rest of your day. And, of course, I'll be reaching out to you. Until then, you take care. Take it easy. If it's good to you, take it twice, okay? God bless you. Take care, okay?
All righty.